This just in, this is absolutely insane. Pantera Capital's founder has told CNBC that Ripple is ready to rattle Swift, to shake up the financial ecosystem and become the new cross-border payments system. Right now, XRP is finding stability and consolidating at around $3, so if Pantera Capital's founder is correct, that will mean that $3 XRP must be the new bottom and it will only be up from here. The $155 trillion XRP takeover is now beginning. According to this document here from Smoke, Ripple's business model is one that allows the company to generate revenue through three main channels: software licensing fees for its current payment processing platform, sales of XRP, and interest fees from its institutional lending product. With Ripple securing over 100 banking partnerships throughout the years, this now means XRP is positioned as the optimal bridge currency for providing on-demand liquidity in both TradFi and DeFi for cross-border payments. So, in short, Ripple's business strategy is the perfect plan that gives Ripple multiple paths to monetize the $155 trillion cross-border payments market to replace Swift. Now, of course, this sort of shift, this sort of development, this sort of race is more of a marathon. It's not a sprint. It will take some time, but that does not mean we won't see the true value of XRP start leaking through the cracks. Time is running out in more ways than one. We can see here, for one, not just that Ripple Payments is designated as an alternative blockchain payment method, and one that is expected to be implemented in the European Union even by October 2025 next month. Ripple's going to be taking over EU next month. But you also have this interview here with members of Congress, the US Financial Services Committee, VC French Hill here, who just said live on CNBC that the crypto market structure bill, so the Clarity Act, will soon be passed into law. Take a listen.
Exactly right. We passed in the House in July the Clarity Act, which got 78 Democratic votes, meaning we had a strong bipartisan vote over the suspension of vote level in the House, meaning more than 290 members came together to vote for the Clarity Act, which is that market framework which will make America the most competitive digital asset nation in the world when you combine it with the Genius Act that President Trump signed into law in July, which is the dollar-backed payment stablecoin legislation.
And you are somewhat gratified with what the Trump administration has done. There's been some progress, obviously, with the Genius Act, but what I didn't realize was how more advanced, is that the right word, for crypto use in the economy is in South America. And maybe even in Europe, in terms of legislation, where we're definitely ahead with liquidity, and we've had some good IPOs, but we're lagging without this structure in place.
That's right. We can't be competitive and lead the nation in fintech if we don't have this market framework. I told President Trump back in July that if you sign the Genius Act and you pass it, it's like passing a bill that authorizes the use of a cell phone, but you have no cell towers. You don't have the rules for custody, for dealing, for exchanging, for serving as a trader, for how you're going to actually operate a blockchain network inside the financial services industry. So we need both. They're both essential. And as you point out, the Senate is now considering the Clarity Act under Tim Scott's leadership in the Banking Committee and John Bozeman's leadership in the House of the Senate Ag Committee. And we hope that they will take prompt action on that this fall during the October and November timeframe. I'd love to see the Clarity Act pass the Senate before the end of the year.
This is a bombshell announcement. Both of those two posts here were bombshell announcements, and I shouldn't need to tell you what this will mean for crypto's market and for XRP's price, but I will. With the Fed now cutting interest rates into a re-accelerating economy, with more legislative frameworks coming out, that will give institutions more clarity, more confidence, and clearer guidelines on what cryptos they should be investing into. This market is about to explode with institutional adoption. We've got a total market cap of $4 trillion. It's going to easily surpass that in the coming months and years from here. Furthermore, Bitcoin tends to have an 80 to 90% correlation to the M2 money supply, but due to geopolitical tensions, the tariff FUD, and the Fed uncertainty, the M2 Bitcoin divergence has become very, very sharp. Very sharp. This just means, therefore, with clarity finally being restored, slowly but surely, Bitcoin will soon quickly catch back up to the M2 money supply, and altcoins will explode with it in value, and we're going to see a much more bullish cycle in the coming months. Furthermore, again, with that passing of the Clarity Act so soon, this will create clearer guidelines between securities and commodities in crypto. The jurisdiction between the SEC for securities and commodities from the CFTC, and with XRP being determined as not a security in the courts of law, the only asset in history in the United States with legal regulatory clarity, XRP will end up receiving less regulatory scrutiny, therefore receiving more institutional investments, and therefore more demand, and therefore explode in price as well. Again, remember, XRP and Ripple have the perfect business model to replace SWIFT and to monetize the $155 trillion cross-border payments market. Institutions are going to want to get a piece of XRP. When the Clarity Act's out, XRP will soar like no other. The floodgates are opening. This is the final calm before the storm. And to stay more locked in and up to date and to be prepared for what is to come, to level up your trading game, come check out the VIP wop.com/coinfactory. From alpha institutional research documents, learning what smart money are saying to their clients, exclusive documents ahead of time so we can get ahead of the retail market, educational courses, trade alerts, and so much more. Check it all out for free for 7 days. Link down below in the description. And remember, as always, don't look short term, think long term. And I'll see you all in the next one.